date. Didn't I put the date? Or did you fix it?
It
Yeah.
was second, and I just tried to. I was like, oh, just be helpful, and I was like, oh yeah, I don't actually have permissions to just change the date. So there you go.
It's all right. So everybody, welcome to June 9th edition of Kagent Weekly. In terms of news, so I think we are gearing up for an 0.10.0 release. We just had a PR merge that is step one towards migrating away from A2A, our like super deprecated A2A version, and being able to support 1.0. So that goes in now. If you upgrade after our next point release, you'll be able to get that. But then it'll be default in 0.10, and then 0.11 we're going to move to 1.0, and then 0.12 we're going to remove all of the 0.3 compatibility code completely. So that is progressing well. The next thing I want to call out is we're moving pretty quickly on work with Substrate. So we have Peter has been doing an awesome job putting together. Just post it, I guess.
By the way, I think I asked you already in the chat, but maybe you can explain. For the Substrate, we need to install the version which is from Kagent, right? Not the Substrate from the official.
Correct.
Because I installed the official one, and then I see my agent is like constantly still waiting for.
Yeah.
So
you have to use the fork. Use the fork.
We will try and we'll definitely make that clear, because we'll make docs and everything. But there's a bunch of changes that are going. So it'll be clearer. For example, I'm right now working on some finalized Helm chart changes for our fork, so you'll be able to install Substrate directly from Helm without having to go to the repo at all. And then from the so that'll be one thing. So it'll be much more clear from the docs. Right now, it's much more difficult. But let me post that PR. Let me just find it. What is this? Pop, 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 pop. Okay. And just FYI, at first, it will only be Golang, because it'll only be Golang because we couldn't get Python to work in time. We think to get it to work, we'll probably have to move away from chain guard, which honestly I think we were going to have to do anyway, because chain guard this is another thing we should talk about. Chain guard discussion. Unless you pay for chain guard images, you only are allowed latest, which means they can change our images at any time, which from a reproducibility perspective has caused issues. And although they are secure, it's not a good footing. So I think we should switch to distroless. Only allow latest without paying. Maybe switch to distroless. But anyway, so that's another ATON.
Do you know if they provide for the CNCF projects anything like?
I don't. Are they in the CNCF? Is ChainGuard is Wolfie CNCF?
No, they. In general,
I don't think they do.
Maybe they have some program, but because they have some open source activities.
I can ask, but I've never heard of anyone else.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I want to use them, but without being able to use their tagged images, it's tough.
Okay.
So, and then for those who want to keep a log on the Substrate work, you can find our fork here. Right now, basically, what we're trying to do is keep our main like essentially a little bit ahead. I think the idea is to contribute back as much as possible. And I've been having like most of my PRs, actually all of my PRs that I've posted have been 2 out of 3 have been merged. So it's definitely happening. And we're working closely. We're generally we're very interested in working closely with the Substrate community, as I've mentioned, and they have a couple of channels in the CNCF Slack if folks are interested, Substrate-dev and Substrate-users, and they also have a community meeting on Thursdays. Oops. Let me find that really quick. I believe they actually mention it on their GitHub, on the front page of GitHub. Yes, community, under community. It's every Thursday at 10 a.m. PST. So let me just add that here. For anyone who's interested, I'll be there, and some other members of the Kagent team will be there. So that's all I have on Substrate. Peter, anything you want to add?
Sorry, looking for the unmute. No, not really. I mean, if other than people like go try it out, right, and provide feedback. Yeah. And I mean, I'm expecting a lot of changes and more changes, right, coming up because it is an experimental thing, right? At least Substrate.
Yeah.
Right? So building on top of that, there will be things that will probably break because stuff might change. That's the only thing.
Definitely expect many, like, it is very alpha. Anything that you're doing in and around this will be subject to breaks. If you want the same level of consistency that you've typically had with Kagent, switch to the current deployment model. We think, we are very bullish about this solution, but it is new, so things will change a lot.
I've also posted in chat link to the setup instructions. There's nothing on the docs side yet. So until it is, these are the docs on how to set up, how to install Substrate, right? And then how to enable it in Kagent and then how to run it. But yeah, that will probably move into docs at some point. I don't know when, but it will.
No, my Hermes harness as well, right? This bit, pretty much.
So sorry, can you repeat that? I couldn't.
Sorry. Yeah, no, I was just saying, like, I know the docs we've looked at the OpenCore one, but I'll be able to. It doesn't matter which harness that we use because I set up the Hermes one, didn't I? So I'll be able to use that, play with the Substrate, right?
Yes. I think yes. Yeah.
Does Hermes already work? I haven't tested it.
I think it does. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah,
I've been mostly testing with OpenClaw, but I think it should.
Yeah, I got it working up in the version of like the OpenShell, which I don't know if they fixed yet.
So we are. Just to warn you, we're going to be getting rid of. The plan is to get rid of OpenShell and replace it with Substrate.
Yeah, cool. That makes sense.
Yeah. The thing with I know I commented on Discord about the OpenShell. The thing there is that there's a sandbox base that has its own version, right? So OpenShell, it has its own version, and then within that they have a specific version of OpenClaw they're relying on. We had to rebuild that with the 1 or 2 version like higher than they had of OpenClaw because there were some issues with setting up. I think it was Slack, but I'm not 100%. There were some issues, right? So we had to rev the OpenClaw version, but yeah, there's like double versioning there. And that's for OpenShell, right? But as Ethan said, that will probably go away.
Cool. Nice. Nice.
Cool. Yeah. Just in terms of the logic there, like Substrate in terms of its functionality aligns a little bit more in terms of what we're thinking, specifically how it deals with snapshots and runtime. Yeah. So
Cool.
like the ability, basically doing a lot of bin packing and kind of serverless architecture. So it's really Substrate is more of a secure by default serverless framework as opposed to a sandbox that happens to sometimes run in Kubernetes.
Okay. So Substrate doesn't use the sandbox CRD either then?
No.
Oh, nice.
No, it's totally. The problem with sandbox CRD is that it's very it's slow, right? You're dealing with a container. So what Substrate does is it's a level above, basically, and so that the startup time for your the startup time for a declarative agent. I don't know, Peter, if you measured it, but my guess is under 100 milliseconds.
Oh, with Substrate?
Yeah.
It's non-perceivable.
Right.
I didn't notice it being any faster or any slower, but I'm sure if you would measure it, maybe there would be differences, but it's not. You cannot perceive it. It's not. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I promise you it's much faster.
Yeah, and it's, you mentioned it's Go only, right? It's not.
Yes, I did mention
using
Go.
Go backend, right?
Yes, we are planning on adding Python support, and potentially for Python support, it would be much faster because you'd be starting from a golden snapshot. But we can
assuming
get into
that
later.
works, yes.
Assuming we can get it to work, which I think we can. My pal Codex has some ideas.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. The first order of business that I want to talk about besides this is the cross namespace model config. So there's somebody in the Discord yesterday brought this up, and I think it's a good idea, but I actually noticed something that this will kind of be a problem because right now the way secrets work in our system is that they're all mounted directly. There's no references. So like when you reference a secret in a Kagent object, we take that secret and shove it into a volume. We don't copy around secret material. But unfortunately, to do this, we would need to start copying around secret material. And actually, this surfaced a bug in some other work that Jeremy just merged on the remote MCP server side. And I was just wondering how folks feel. Like, do folks feel this is really important? Because it would require a fairly large change with potential security implications. So I just wanted to talk that through.
I mean, I haven't had a use case for cross namespace yet, unfortunately. It's just not been a thing. Would that mean looking at something like what was that other one? Was it LMD that did a Kubernetes platform, but they used like a Vault proxy instead for secrets?
So I will say, there are solutions here outside of Kagent, right? If you want to share around your models, you could also use Agent Gateway potentially in the cluster to serve your models and do the authentication. If you wanted to do it that way, right? That's a totally legit option. And I don't know if folks saw, but I actually briefly mentioned this in the Kagent community meeting before I was technically allowed to. But Agent Gateway is now in the Agentic AI Foundation, the new foundation created by the Linux Foundation. So it's kind of like the go-to proxy for those use cases. And so I think that's one way to do it. I don't know. I'm torn here because again, this is quite a big change. This ends up being quite a big change, but also it would be nice potentially. So I just want to make sure that it's like, if we take this on, we understand that it fundamentally, like, it's a big change because we can't use volumes anymore. We actually have to copy the secret materials into the agent config secret and then load it all that way, which actually probably simplifies it simplifies the like config loading potentially, but it is a very, very, like, it is not a minimal change. It's potentially very large. So
does that affect the secret rotation as well, though? Because like with the mounted volumes, if it's pulling from something like external secrets operator, it updates in place, right? But if we move it, will that go away?
So right now we have certain mechanisms to roll the agents when its dependence change. But at the same time, I think what I would like to do is move towards the ability to actually like live reload the config. It's a little bit less relevant when you're running in Substrate because you really can't live reload. It's really it's kind of, as you start up, that's your config. Right. But also the egress and like secrets and stuff like that will be mounted as egress, and like it'll be whatever. Anyway, so yeah, I think basically what we would do is we would just roll the pod, and it would pick up the new secret.
Cool.
Okay, well, I think we can leave this open, and basically, if others have comments, just add it to add it to the issue, and we'll see if there are other folks who are interested. I think we would need definitely a little bit more confirmation or interest before we went ahead and did this, because it's, as I said, it's been quite a big change. All right. Let's see. So, oops. All right, Dimitro, you want to take it away?
Yeah, just I'm trying to resume this work on MCP UI side, and maybe I can share a very quick demo.
Please.
Let me just see if it will work. Okay. Hope you see my screen.
Yes, sir.
So if you remember, some time back, I was already presenting some POC. This is now more like a refined version of it, with which I'm planning to create a PR. So if you just collapse it, it would look like a normal Kagent, but there is this additional navigation panel. And basically here we have this plugins catalog. Currently I have only just one plugin enabled. And the plugins is just extension to the regular remote MCP, which has in a spec section for UI, where you can, optional section UI, where you can put some configuration for your UI extensions. So this is like example of this. So in that configuration in a spec, you can specify like a section on the menu where you want to put it with some predefined sections, let's say resources, workflows, agents, overview, and stuff like that. So we can control it on our CRT. And then basically, which allows us to dynamically deploy here some extensions. So if you just deploy like a Kanban board or workflow view, or for example, database, memory management, whatever you want, you can add as a plugin, which allows a kind of easy way to extend Kagent without recompiling and rebuilding the whole thing. Okay, and then because it's MCP, of course.
This is all MCP UI, right? Is it?
Yeah, I'm just going to that. Okay, so
okay.
Basically it has two parts. This one has a regular page, single page kind of app, which is integrated, which it's used similar mechanism as MCP UI, but it has just a regular web interface. So, and here in the menu, when we click and we display it here in the section, is just iframe, which we point to that UI part. But then if you are inside the chat, this is the actual MCP UI, which is in action. So let's say I have a session and I want to see a status of my task, right? So then you have a tool, which is a special type of tool call, which is UI aware. Okay, so it's when you register it, it's using this MCP extension declarative way to say this is a UI action. Okay. So if I call this tool, which is like show task progress, and basically it will handle it as iframe inside the chat. Okay. And then here you see it's just a regular response, but again, it's not hard coded. It's not something that you need to put in the chat UI and parse it and things like that. It's completely dynamic. So if I have MCP, which is working with MCP UI extensions, you can use it from Cursor, you can use it here from Kagent, you can use it from anywhere. Okay, this is here is another example of single task, because that one has subtasks. And basically, it serves two purposes. One purpose, you have just this like a menu extension with the UI, where we can bring different additional, UI on the main window extensions, and we have a chat level, so which is embedded. Okay, so from the implementation, the UI on the main window is just a single page app. From this one is just a widget, which is done with this MCP extension standard, and this is injected via iframe and has some communication between that widget and chat, where you can have some hooks and notifications. Okay, so yeah, that's for you, just a demo. I plan to prepare PR with that, but this is also involves a small change of user interface. So if you have any comments or any objections on that, I tried to keep it as little as possible from the original one. So if you like collapse it and keep it this, there will be no difference. If you do not have deployed this Kanban, it just disappears, so everything stays the same. And
I like this. I would suggest we break this apart into multiple smaller PRs.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would start with is having the ability to so these the MCP UI thing, this is just an MCP server, right? You just add it as a tool, right? So it's configured the same way.
Exactly.
I think the first PR, the first step should be just have the functionality of rendering the MCP UI if that MCP tool advertises it inside the chat. I think that should be the first step.
Okay, you want to start with the chat, not with the menu. Okay.
Yeah, I think the menu. So I see the chat being a separate thing, right? That can be split up.
Correct.
I think the moving the UI to the left side without any plugins or anything, that could be the second PR, right?
Yeah.
And then the third one, which is I think the biggest one, is figuring out these plugins, right? Like how to add that Kanban board thing, right? So that's like a third thing in my mind, you know.
Yeah, I definitely I will create PR without this Kanban board.
Yeah, but I'm saying the
It's,
functionality of having you have the plugins catalog there, right?
Yeah,
that functionality is for registering those
it
to
just
register that Kanban board, right?
just because we need to have some sort of way to test it as well, right? Maybe we can also add UI support, or at least few tools, maybe like a progress bar or something, to the standard Kagent tools. We can add that as well. So we will have ability to test it from the chat, because if I just
you mean like add a sample UI or something to one of our tools, so just you can yeah, I agree, but that's in a way it's unrelated to the plugins catalog and all the things there.
Yeah, plugins catalog is completely like
that's like the plugin
thing.
functionality that happens to use MCP UI to integrate into the larger. Yeah, I see that would be like a third PR, if you will, if we're talking in the PR.
Yeah. Also, plugins potentially for the future has it's like just the beginning. It's like top of the iceberg, because we can bring there also other things like hooks inside, between sessions, between typical.
Yeah. You can decide when you want to invoke it.
Like for example, if you look on plugins, which you have like a Claude plugins, right? Which typically now it's combination of everything. It have skills, it has hooks, it has all kind of extensions bundled as a plugin, and then you can deploy it to your agent, and you have this full.
I would actually like, now that you brought that up, I think this should not be once we get there, right, called plugins catalog necessarily, because it's all about, in a way, UI at this point. And then later, if you want to add like a proper, let's say Claude or Cursor or whatever plugin support that has, like, as you said, skills and prompts and MCP tools and whatever, then the naming would clash. That's the only thing.
Yeah, we need to think how to, maybe if you have a good idea how we can
UI catalog. UI widget. I don't know.
Naming is the most difficult part in the software industry. So
my guess is as good as everyone else's here. So I don't. But I'm just saying, like, if we wanted to later on support plugins as in Claude or Cursor or whatever plugins, right? Then we just need to think about like calling this something else or whatever. But okay, in any case, I think PR1 should just be this, what's in the chat.
Only UI, yes, only UI.
Just the chat, and then we can do a separate PR if we want to just do this sidebar on the left.
Yeah.
Without the plugins catalog and Canva and all those. And then the third plugin, I guess, would be plugin PR would be, what do we do about the plugin catalog? Now, the only question here is, how does if you go to the main screen, how does that look like? Okay, so it's the same. It's just not, the top menu is gone, right? So the thing,
everything's the same. It just moves menu from top, some of the things like create and stuff. And by the way, if you start to use it from this perspective, from this navigation bar, you would immediately notice inconsistency in the in this search table format. So
that's like PR4.
Yeah. That's immediately asking you, okay, let's improve the table view here, because it's
I mean, honestly, the MCP servers tab and the tools tab, we only need one. It's useless. Having two, it's the exact same view, right? Like tools, I can just browse the tools, or I can just go to MCP servers and I can see the tools there.
Yep, right? Definitely. Yeah.
So those are, I think, PR4, just do like a UI cleanup in general, or maybe that is something that's done as part of the move the menu from the top to the left, and then clean up, make sure that everything is consistent, right?
All right. Okay. Yeah, thank you for this feedback. Just one noticeable thing, I've added also here a mini map. If you notice here, if I have multiple tool calls and everything, it's just coloring.
That's nice. Yeah. So you can click on it and it's going to take you.
Yes, if you have a longer session, it shows like a lot of things, which is nice navigation.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Oh, you can. Sorry, I had a quick question. I think my microphones are running dead. How does that behave with namespaces, with the workflows in the MCPs? Because we have like a namespace filter now, right? So if I filter
on top you have this namespace selector, right?
Yeah.
So you can just change it and move to a different namespace.
But it will only show like the MCPs are installed in that namespace.
Yes,
or will it show?
It will filter it based on that namespace selected. Yeah.
Cool. Nice.
I was going to ask really quick. I saw that there is a refresh button on the UI elements in the chat, and I'm just trying to think that through and if that actually makes sense, because I'm not sure. Without like forking a chat, normally you can like re-request data on an MCP
this
call.
widget is living inside the iframe. Basically, the way this MCP UI extension is working, it's just an iframe, which is like a sandboxed iframe. It's limited with what it can do, because if you load there inside some JavaScript and stuff, it's restricted, right? It has.
So it's not a point in time.
Yeah. So, for example, by default, it doesn't allow SSE, so you cannot create SSE session for that. But it allows you just this web kind of way you can pull and refresh it. And
so if you updated stuff on your Kanban board and then refresh the whole page.
Basically, the library, React library from for this MCP UI extension is coming from the official MCP extensions library. So it's not something that I'm implementing myself. If you click refresh there or do something, it will update the widget. And you can have some automatic pulling setup, which is like time-based, but you cannot have really like a push via SSE. It would require some extra things. But I think there is another possibility. When you click button or something inside that widget, it can notify your chat, and that your chat will call another tool. So you can have basically like a UI interface where you click on something inside the widget. I'll find there is a demo for all of these capabilities from this MCP UI extensions. I'll just put it in the link in the chat and comments. Okay.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's just kind of weird, like in a chat interface. I'm just trying to think through like
what's weird in the chat interface.
Well, it's like, okay, so I have a conversation with the AI, and I'm like, hey, show me this task, move this task to this other location, and then other things happen on the Kanban board, and I go back to the chat, and it's my history has what seemingly are pictures, but they're actually interface elements that have updated since I chatted with the agent, so it like doesn't line up with my chat anymore. It's like the current state of the world as opposed to at that point in time.
I think it's remembering. I think it's like it. If I understand it, maybe I'm also not 100% correct, but I think when it is capturing these widgets, it's kind of storing this in history, and it's and then re-renders whenever you do this refresh thing.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's where the refresh thing feels weird to me.
It probably depends on the implementation. You can probably make it so it's point in time.
Yeah.
Right. So it's probably generic enough that you can do it either way. I don't know. I haven't used it.
So I think the overall feature is really interesting. I was just curious on the specifics in this case. But it's not a problem.
Yeah, that was awesome feature. I'm really excited. I think people, like I know some companies using MCP apps today. Like I know Adobe uses them.
I think it's important also to understand that, if you run the session from background, right? If you started from CLI or from somewhere else, your logic should not rely on the fact that there is like this MCP UI and calling those tools. This is more like tool to, for example, I started like my use case. I'm starting like many background tasks, right? And I want to see the progress in final stage, so I can fire them in the background with the background agent, and I can show the progress, in the last call as a get task status or something, and it will refresh for me dynamically. But this is not breaking the logic. It's not breaking the functionality. If I do not call that step, everything will work the same way.
Yeah. I mean, I like the idea, right? It's basically a more secure way of having a local Claude that builds you a UI to look at some data. It's, and I think as these, especially like combined with memory, right? As these agents get to know you more, they'll get to know potentially like how you like to visualize data, right? And how you like to interact with UIs, et cetera. And it allows the UI to basically be more tailored to you directly. Yeah. So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, there are many UI extensions like this which already work in Claude, in Cursor, and it's become for some components pretty much a standard. We have, for example, a Jenkins UI support in chat. So if someone has call to Jenkins, you can display it in the chat without asking user, go to this link and do this. You see directly the stages and whatever you want to present, which is a way to hide the legacy apps, kind of the legacy flows, and move them to agentic. It's
yeah. Well, your first problem there was using Jenkins, but
it's not my problem. Yeah. But it's surviving pretty long.
Hey, they might have more uptime than GitHub, so who knows?
Yeah. Well,
that's not hard. Yeah. Cool. All righty. Anyone have anything else you want to chat about today?
I just want to do a quick, Dimitro, do you need any help with this, or are you just starting with the first?
No, I think I have it on top of pretty recent version of UI. I'll just rebase it, on the last version. I wanted to do it in the time when there are no major changes in UI as well, so I will not have the conflicts. And as you recommended, I will do first the embedded chat and then.
Okay. Yeah, just asking if you need.
We'll ping you. Yeah, we'll ping you for the review, definitely.
Okay.
All right, cool. Then I think we can potentially give everyone some time back. It's like 5 minutes, but I got another meeting soon. So. All right, have a wonderful. We have our contributors meeting this week. Thursday is gonna be a busy day. We have that, and then the substrate meeting. So I'll be able to remind people that if they want to join. So I will see everyone on. Oh, actually, before we break, one more thing. I do see a new name. I think at least one new name. So if anyone wants to introduce themselves, I totally forgot to do this at the beginning.
Hey guys, I'm Dilhan. Actually, I'm in Flexera, and we are in Flexera. I'm trying to use Agent Gateway and Kagent. So it is really interesting, and I also want to contribute. Hoping to do so soon.
Glad to hear it. That's awesome. Well, welcome to the community. Which company did you say you were from?
Flexera.
Flexera. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
All righty.
Just maybe last question for anyone who deployed Hermes and it works for him. Could you ping me in Discord with example of CR that you're using? Because my CR got stuck and I'm.
Wait, are you on OpenShell?
I think I tried from OpenShell. I tried also from
OpenShell
substrates.
OpenShell should work. It works on my
So
machine.
we're getting rid of OpenShell. And Peter, I don't know if you've tested. Did you say you've tested Substrate?
I don't remember on no.
Okay,
Let's
so
say
we'll
Yeah,
test
but
I have
it stuck. It was stuck for me on both deployments for some reason. I don't know. Do I miss something or?
I got it working. Yeah, like I said, I had to pin the version of OpenShell. Anything after 4.9 just died.
Yeah, it could be that they made changes. I don't know what version are.
Yeah, but you shouldn't have to set specific versions to anything, right? If you just
Yeah,
No,
just how you create it. You create it from YAML or you create it from UI? Because I tried just to click through UI and I clicked create, and basically it got stuck and it was not coming up. So
I mean, but both should work. I'm talking about OpenShell. I know we're getting rid of it, right? But in OpenShell, Hermes should work for me. I didn't have to change any like image names or any versions. That worked. So
I think it's a general comment that sometimes most of us are creating things from YAML and it works, but then the end users try to go through UI and they.
it's very possible that there was something missed in the UI. I'm not taking that out of the account. So
all right, okay, I'll try again maybe. But
I can ping you.
Yeah, if you can ping me example which is working, I'll just thank you.
As I said, I think we're definitely hoping to. We're definitely going to be focusing more and more on Substrate. So, and yeah, so. All right, cool. I'll talk to you all soon. Have a good one.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.